The World Series is just a few days removed. The Duck Boats have disgorged the triumphant Red Sox after their Wednesday procession through the streets of Boston, and Dodger fans are still doing their annual monologue titled, "Why Did Dave Roberts Take Rich Hill Out So Soon?" Surely it's too soon for 2019 World Series odds, isn't it? Surely not. Something called mybookie.ag lists the Dodgers' odds at getting back to a third consecutive series as 15-2. Our friends in the desert at bovada.lv list them at 8-1. Both put the Dodgers third behind the teams that have beaten them the past 2 years, the Red Sox and Astros. Do we have the keys to reducing those odds and bettering the chances of what will be a 31-year drought by next October? Hard to tell. But based on the philosophy that it's generally better to do something than to do nothing and hope for a different result, this space has assembled a checklist for Andrew Friedman and Farhan's 80. The Kershaw question, Clayton Kershaw's opt-out decision, due by 9 p.m. PDT Wednesday, is only the start of the process. As noted after Game 5, he still means more to the Dodgers than to anybody else in baseball, and it is to both sides' benefit if he is again wearing their shade of blue in 2019. And if the Dodgers were to retain Greg Maddux as a consultant to help Kershaw through the evolution from power to finesse pitcher, so much the better. Keep Roberts, and give him more autonomy. I'm not sure how much difference it makes, but fan perception is the bulk of the manager's decisions, including those in-game, are made according to the wishes of the front office. Dave Roberts has a keen touch in dealing with his players, but it would be interesting to see the effect if the Dodgers, A, gave him the extension he deserves, which could and should happen soon, and B, gave him the data to make informed decisions but then got out of his way and let him actually manage. A catching change, free agent Yasmani Grandal's severe defensive slippage wasn't just an October phenomenon, even though most statistical websites had him number 2 behind Miami's JT. Real Muto in war among Major League catchers. An upgrade is in order, but whether you trade for Real Muto, 27, who, not surprisingly, wants to leave the Marlins, probably depends on how much you value prospect Keibert Ruiz, who is ticketed for AAA next spring. A new offensive approach. One Dodger takeaway from the World Series should be that singles and doubles are good things. Too many of their hitters spent too much time trying to launch the ball instead of taking what they were given. Chris Taylor, this means you, is a change in hitting coaches necessary, or can Turner Ward and assistants Brant Brown and Luis Ortiz get across the necessity of thinking differently, especially with runners in scoring position? A new lineup approach, depth, as exemplified by two-platoon baseball, may work fine during the regular season. It's not so effective when all of your top home run hitters start games 1 and 2 of the World Series on the bench because of left-handed pitching. It is far better to have more than 2 players in your lineup who can play against both righties and lefties. And before you go there, free agent and left-handed hitter Bryce Harper's OPS against lefties last year was .856. Against right-handers, .904, a new shortstop approach. This one's a no-brainer. Welcome back Corey Seager. Sia, Manny Machado. A new bullpen approach. Kenley Jansen is under contract through 2021 and can opt out after 2019. But he is obviously not the dominant closer of old, his decrease in velocity and movement evidenced by 13 home runs allowed in 69 regular season games and tying homers in back-to-back World Series games. It may be time to start considering potential closer options. Pedro Baez, perhaps? Who would have thought that a year ago? It is also time to abandon the practice of dumpster diving for relief help, looking for undervalued assets to fill out the bullpen rather than paying the going rate for guys who have a proven ability to get those precious late inning outs. Hint, Joe Kelly, you may have noticed him in the World Series, is a free agent. A new rotation approach, remove the ace-in-waiting title from Walker Buehler. He's now the ace, period. Meanwhile, Julio Urias showed hints in his late-season return that he's ready to fulfill his immense potential. Potentially, the Dodgers could be overbooked with those two, Kershaw, Hill, Hyun-Jin Ryu, if they can re-sign him, and Kenta Maeda. but it's better to have options than to be searching for starting pitching. There is, you may have noticed, a common thread here. Fans love their favorites and would love to see them stay around. But to stay on top, teams have to make adjustments. And as always, we're here to help with those decisions. Alexander at scng.com, at Jim Alexander on Twitter.